I think one of the hardest realizations in adulthood is this: nobody is coming to save you. And strangely enough, that realization can completely change your life. Not because it makes life easier, but because at some point you stopped waiting. You stopped waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel chosen, waiting for permission, waiting for someone else to finally change your life for you. And that's usually the moment something begins to shift. Hey, friend, welcome to Leveling Up Talks brought to you by MaxUverse. And wow, episode 50. We've done extra episodes, but this one is a main episode. It started as a quiet little idea, just a space for real conversations about growth, healing, books, reinvention, mindset, entrepreneurship, and becoming. Because life changes us, work changes us, relationships changes us, loss changes us, growth changes us. And sometimes people are carrying all of that while still trying to function every day. So first, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing these episodes. Thank you for the comments, messages, and conversations that happen because of this space. I read them all. And getting to episode 50 truly would not feel the same without this community. I'm Susan, and for the past 20 years, I've worked in HR, business management, and personal development. I spend a lot of time helping people navigate burnout, leadership, confidence, transitions, difficult environments, identity shifts, grief, growth, all of it. But this podcast has never been about professional development. It's about becoming. And today's conversation feels like a lot of people quietly need that right now. And before we go deeper, if this conversation resonates with you at any point, please like the episode, share with someone who may need this reminder, and subscribe so we can continue growing this space and reaching more people navigating life and growth in real time. I came across a quote years ago that never left me. One day you realize you survived because you became your own rescue. That one stays with you because when you really sit with it, you realize how many people are quietly waiting to finally feel confident enough, healed enough, ready enough, certain enough, waiting for someone to notice them, choose them, or validate them, or push them forward. And meanwhile, life just keeps moving. I think social media has unintentionally created this illusion that growth always looks exciting. Like healing is beautiful all the time. Like confidence appears overnight. Like transformation is glamorous. But real growth, a lot of the time, it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like sitting alone, realizing you cannot keep abandoning yourself anymore. Sometimes it's finally setting a boundary after years of shrinking yourself to keep other people comfortable. Sometimes it's grieving old versions of yourself while trying to become someone new. And maybe that's the part nobody prepares us for. Growth can feel lonely before it feels empowering. There are seasons where your old life no longer fits, but your new life has not fully formed yet either. And that in-between space, that space can really mess with people emotionally if they don't understand what's happening. And maybe you felt this too. Maybe you're not stuck. Maybe you're just in transition. And there's a difference. Over the years, especially through my HR career, I've watched people wait far too long to finally take themselves seriously, to apply for the opportunity, to leave the draining environment, to start over, to trust themselves, to believe they deserve more. And I understand why. Moving forward is uncomfortable, especially when there are no guarantees attached to it. But life keeps teaching me the same lesson over and over again. Confidence usually shows up after the decision, not before it. I think people assume confident people move because they feel fearless. Most of the time they move while they are terrified. They just stopped allowing fear to make every decision for them. And that changes everything. And really quickly, for anyone whose brain has been feeling mentally overloaded lately, I want to mention something that became a loyal companion for me during overwhelming seasons. Boss Buddy was never meant to be another productivity tool. I created it because sometimes your thoughts feel loud, your priorities feel tangled, your mind feels exhausted, and having a space that helps you reset, regroup, and reconnect with yourself matters more than people realize. So if you've been feeling mentally stretched lately, the free Boss Buddy guide is in the link in my bio. It's there whenever you're ready. This conversation reminds me so much of The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest, because that book really forces you to look inward at the emotional patterns and fears that quietly keep people stuck. And also, The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins, because eventually there comes a moment where you have to interrupt the hesitation and move anyway. That's also why Lit Loop by MaxUverse exists, not just to send books, but to create intentional moments where people can slow down enough to reflect, heal, grow, reconnect with themselves through reading. Because books changed my life long before I ever built a business around them. And they still do. So, if you're an intentional builder, a glow up in progress, or someone trying to become your next level self, give yourself Lit Loop by MaxUverse. The link is in the bio. I've been thinking about this a lot while working on my own book, because writing a book forces you to revisit yourself in ways you don't expect. Old fears, old stories, old survivor modes. And somewhere in that process, I realized something. Nobody rescued me out of the hardest seasons of my life. I had support, sure. I had love. I had guidance. But I still had to decide to keep going, to heal, to rebuild, to move differently. And maybe that's what personal power actually is. Not becoming fearless, but learning you can trust yourself enough to continue moving forward when life feels uncertain. And this summer, my book releases into the world, which still feels surreal to say out loud. If you'd like to follow that journey and learn more, you can visit SusanRiley.co. Here's your glow for wisdom. I love these. You are not weak because the journey exhausted you. You are not behind because growth took longer than expected. And you are not broken because life changed you. Some of the strongest people you know are simply people who decided not to give up on themselves. Not quietly, not slowly, not imperfectly. So this week, I want you to sit with one question. Where in your life are you still waiting for permission? And what might change if you trusted yourself enough to move anyway? Not perfectly, not fearlessly, and not just honestly. Sit with that. And if this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who may need this reminder as well. Because these conversations reach more people when you engage with them. So like the episode, subscribe, leave a comment. And I generally love to know, what's one moment in your life where you realize your growth was your responsibility? I read all your messages. And truly, thank you for being here for episode 50. And again, if you've been feeling mentally overloaded or disconnected from yourself lately, the free Boss Buddy guide is in the link in my bio. It's there whenever you're ready. Now go be bold, go be brilliant, go be you. And I'll see you at MaxUverse.com.